So beautiful because we have been able to watch your journey from afar, from sitting with Bella to inching up to raising your hand and then just going full force. But just the beauty when we talk about community of our team rallying around you. You had no idea what was going on, but they were warring for you, and it was such a beautiful thing to watch. And I don't know, I'm just so proud of you. And I don't know, I feel like Vice. Okay. So we kept calling him president because he is the vice president of YSU student body government. But I believe that you've been strategically placed there for a reason. And you have the authority and the power within you to start changing some things there. So, yep.
Hi everyone, I'm Maguire. I was on the evangelism team, so I had the blessing of doing these beautiful dances every day. We're bringing a tear to my eye. But this was actually my first missions trip, and that word "first" was something that really resonated with me throughout the entire week. I was born in a really, really blessed family, but it was a family that believed, but didn't often practice any religion. So for the first 21 years of my life, we were all believers, but didn't have an active practice in our life. So about a year and a half ago, I was approached by my girlfriend Bella, just as you were preaching today, Pastor Juan, about that invite. And I was on the receiving side of that invite, and just to appease my girlfriend, of course, I attended church. Also, just wanting to explore more with God, and about a month ago, Pastor Juan preached about taking that step with God and what step of that journey you're in. At that point in time, so about a year and a half ago, I was just exploring God, making my girlfriend happy and exploring what God can do in my life. And as I prepared for this trip, I felt like I wasn't meant to go. I felt a little uneasy about going because I had just started this journey, and now I'm taking the step and going to El Salvador to preach or to minister to these children. So it was a large step for me, and it was kind of that next step that Pastor Juan preached about starting that relationship with God. And this was that first step that I needed to take. And I'll try to make it quick, but as I was trying to accept that relationship with the Lord, I really told myself that I wanted to be baptized if the opportunity came about in El Salvador. So fast forward to the first night, we were given the opportunity to now get baptized by water, which I have yet to be baptized by water, so that was what really made me want to express that during my time here. So that first night we were offered to be baptized by the Holy Spirit, and just showing up, I had no idea what that meant. Like I said, I've only been this for a year, but I had this fire in me that I really, really wanted to step forward and go about it. And when Pastor John gave us the opportunity to go up, I was hesitant, but luckily Blake took that first step forward, and that really allowed me to take that step forward, which, once again, another big step for me. And they were praying, we were receiving the Holy Spirit, and after 10 minutes of praying, I felt one arm on me, slowly felt a couple more arms around me, just praying over me. It sounded like 1,000 voices were starting to surround me, and I began to get lightheaded and a little loopy, and before you know it, I'm on the ground. And that was an unbelievable experience. I was on the ground for 15-20 minutes, an unnatural experience that I still cannot explain to this day, but a first nonetheless. I'm going to try to wrap up here, but I thought that's the first night, and that was such an amazing experience for the first night, and I was like, okay, that's got to be it. But that continued to happen each and every night through every single person had impacted by the Lord. And I wanted to bring up that we also were able to minister to these children through our programs, and before this, I'd been prayed individually over myself maybe once or twice, and I'd get up there and trying to pray over these children, saying whatever came to my mouth, and often I was saying, Maguire, what are you even saying? You have no idea what you're saying. You've barely even prayed over yourself. But I was able to just let the words flow, and lo and behold, the children were impacted by the Lord. They were crying. They were receiving Jesus. And the words that meant nothing to me were really impacting these children, and it was so incredible to see. And the last thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned, on the last day, Pastor Juan gave a message to everyone and highlighted the first hour worker and the 11th hour worker. And before he gave the sermon, he said to all of us to pick out what person that you feel resonates with you. And the one that really resonated with me was the 11th hour worker. Throughout this trip, I was surrounded by people that had dedicated years and years of their life to the church, and me just wanting to make my girlfriend happy, just joined church and started going about 1.5 years ago. And then throughout the week, I was impacted just as everyone else was with God's gifts. And that 11th hour worker really, really resonated with me, as I had just showed up and God still blessed me with a bunch of his powers and a bunch of his great goodness. So I think that's how God led. I think that's the effect of being surrounded by such God-loving people and really taking a step in your faith. So it was the first time, and I hope it's not my last time.